Welcome to Victoria's Nirvana with your host, Victoria Lynn Ravenwood, where it's all about evolving your mind, being creative, and daring to live an enlightened life.
Hello. Well, today I would like to talk about perception and how changing your perception can change your life. When I recently took an image, a very abstract image, and had different people look at it, each person noticed something different about that image. But it's an image, so shouldn't everybody basically see the same thing and get the same thing from it? It's the same thing in writing class. We'll give the exercise to write from a writing prompt about the same, everyone writes about the same situation. Cute meet, they would call it once, sometimes at UCLA Film School. Writing cute meet of how two characters can come together and meet each other, and they're in a diner or whatever the parameters are, but every single person in class, it'd be 30 people in class, and everyone would have a completely different take on that prompt. And it's always wondered about how so many people can look at the same image or the same idea and get such a different perspective on it, a different take on it. And it's not just about creativity. It's about our biases and our unknown perspectives and preferences that lead us to see what we want to see in any image or situation. So our unconscious minds seek to affirm the biases and perspectives that we have all day long, no matter what we look at, no matter what we're trying to perceive, no matter what situation we're trying to figure out. We have these unconscious biases and perspectives that we're always looking through. We're looking through a lens, whether we know it or not, and most of us don't know it. So we perceive our life and everything that happens to us in life in a certain way. And that's fine, that's where a lot of creativity comes from. But as we go throughout our regular day, we don't realize how much of regular stuff we're filtering through biases and perspectives. We don't realize that we even have this lens on. And looking at great art can help you to delve into your unconscious a little bit and see what it is that you're picking up. It's almost like an ink blot. You can use art and you can use your experiences in life as a sort of ink blot to see what your lens is by what you're seeing in a situation or what you're seeing in a piece of art. And that starts to give you clues about what's going on in your life. Almost as if all of life is an ink blot waiting for us to decipher it and give it meaning. It's up to us to try and start seeing the good things and start giving healing and wholeness a voice in our unconscious so we can collectively raise the bar on the whole planet. How we see things affects the thing that is seen, because all energy is rippling out into the collective conscious. So it's like a two-way street as well, especially with conscious things, living things, other people, nature, animals. We're all picking up on what other people are thinking of us and filtering about us and is being put out there into the world. We're all affecting each other, and we all have these biases and perspectives and lenses on. And most of us are just creating a mess with our thoughts and our interpretations of things, and not really seeing the truth of reality or the truth of what's in front of us. So it's worth taking time to start trying to uncover what your biases may be. And this can happen a lot with journal writing. You could do some journal writing, especially about anything that might upset you. You can take the technique of looking at art and seeing what comes up and using art as some sort of like an ink blot test to see how you interpret it. Some people will even look up at clouds and see what they see in the different clouds, and that's another example and type of like an ink blot. But the point is that all of life is perception, and so much of scientific research lately and into biology, even the biology of belief with Dr. Bruce Lipton, so many researchers are showing how much of the mind and the brain work together to create our reality, and it does it through perception. We know the brain takes in thousands of bits of information every second, and we filter it to be able to make sense of the world. But it's the filters that really can have an impact on what is being, well, filtered, because we are putting limitations on these filters. We are selecting what filters we want. We are creating a perspective and then getting our filters to work and sift through all this information to support that perspective. So what really is reality? We're creating it for ourselves every second, and we're influencing the reality and the perspectives of others around us as well. So it's really important to uncover what you have bought into, what your biases are, what your perspectives are. It's not just about, we talk about bias a lot when it comes to race, and that's wonderful. There's so many others. And it also gets into perspective. What perspective are you taking about something, whether it's any area of life, food, health, other people, your job, your work, how you're looking at life. And these perspectives can shift a lot depending on your mood. If you allow your mood to get into a darker place, your perspective can shift a little bit and get more narrow. So our whole life is filtered through filters that are selected by our biases and our perspectives, and it creates our whole reality. You can have 10 people in the same experience, each one experiencing a completely different reality and a different effect of what's going on, because each one of them has a different filter and a different perspective going on. So you have the ability to really change your life and change the whole outcome and path of your future by changing your perspectives, changing your biases, making them conscious and working with them. Some people try to do this through affirmations, and that's very helpful. But if you really don't know your biases and your perspectives beforehand, it can be difficult and take a little longer to do, because you're going to come up against those things, and it's going to work against affirmations being very successful. So it's worth journaling and doing ink blots, whether it's looking at clouds and seeing what you see, or looking at abstract art and seeing what you see, and trying to uncover through ways of getting in touch with your unconscious what your biases and what your perspectives are as you go throughout your day and live your life, so that you are able to make changes toward the positive and live a better life and have a different outcome and perspective on things. Because no matter what is happening and what you're telling yourself about what's happening, you can take 10 other people and put them in that situation, and they will have a different story about it. So you have the power to change that perspective and that bias about it, if you can make it conscious. And that gives you a lot of power to create your life and set your own destiny and your own path. So I hope you give this some food for thought, and maybe start a journaling practice every morning for a few minutes. Doesn't take that long. And just see what comes up for you. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Victoria's Nirvana. Subscribe and visit victorialynnravenwood.com to sign up for the newsletter.